So I want to tell you, introduce the story of Amy and Jose. This picture was taken on May 2nd, 2019, but their story goes back to January of 2016. They lost 2 girls to foster care. It was a short stay. May, 5 months later, the girls were returned home, and in November of March of 2017, the case was closed. So it was about a 15-month case, beginning to end. Unfortunately, November of 2017, the case is reopened and they lost the girls again to foster care due to a relapse. 11 months later, October 2018, the girls are returned home. In February of 2019, Jose enrolls in a SPO-FI AM and subsequently a SPO-FI PM class. He graduated from both of them. He got 48 hours of fatherhood instruction, which led to this picture. This is May 2nd, 2019. The 3 of us, that's Daryl in the back, Fred, I'm the guy behind the camera, okay, had sat through a hearing with Commissioner Michelle Ressa in which she had restored full parental rights for these 2 girls. I spoke with Commissioner Ressa last week for about 30 minutes about this case, and she said she could not believe the difference in Jose. His demeanor, his approach to solving problems, everything about him was just a complete 180. She had been the commissioner administering their foster care case all through this 3.5 years, okay? And Jose, first of all, gives credit to God, but he also gives credit to SPO-FI. And so we have obtained legally, this is not Ukrainian eavesdropping, we have obtained legally a CD recording of that hearing because there's some things that were said there that I think were absolutely amazing. So I want you to listen to this. The first voice you're going to hear is Jose's attorney. And then you'll hear a brief exchange between the commissioner and Jose, and at the end, the Commissioner Ressa makes some comments.
I'll say during this last review period, Mr. Ariza has built a very strong relationship with the department, which has been great. This is probably the healthiest the relationship between the Ariza family and the department has been in a while. Mr. Ariza, on his own behalf, sought out the Spokane Fatherhood Initiative, Your Honor. We have 3 representatives of that Spokane Fatherhood Initiative here today to help support Mr. Ariza. Mr. Ariza has been very open and about he has got to correct some of the past history he's had with and work on it. What Mr. Ariza has learned through his courses is that he doesn't believe that just forcing home is going to be the right avenue to making a successful reunification. What he wants to do is show who he is now, what he's learned, and how different he is. This is something that he has fundamentally argued with my office has been one of the best things for him. He's advocated that we should send every one of our fathers through this program. He thinks that it shows that it's really allowed him to come to grips with some of his history and how he can kind of direct this in a new direction now.
Share something with me that you learned.
The biggest thing that I learned, that we learned in there, was one of the things that I always heard was when you heard the word discipline, what does it mean? Mm-hmm. Like to me it was, oh, well, you get your butt whooped and everything, but discipline to us in there was actually your teaching. Your teaching, and that was one of the biggest things that I was just like, I mean, when I heard it, my mouth dropped to the ground. I went home and I'm still like, wow, like I'm telling Amy everything. I'm even talking to my daughters and I'm like, hey, what does discipline mean to you? Like, it was just a big turnout, you know, it was a big, I'm so emotional, I can't even like...
Permanent generational shift. I want you to hear yourself talking because then they're not going to know any different with their own children.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been amazing with my girls right now.
What else?
That's about it. I'm just so emotional right now.
Well, sometimes when we use the word emotional, that feels heavy to me, but you are the lightest I've ever seen. You're the lightest in energy and the lightest in how you're presenting today. like you start to, engage and incorporate and accept new information. So you guys are both just really transformative to me today.
Thank you.
Now, imagine you're a family law judge, and this family is before you for the second time because of a relapse. Is she likely to be lenient? Is she likely to be positive? She's going to be highly skeptical, and judges are highly skeptical anyways, to begin with. And so to hear these words from you, you are the lightest that I've ever seen you. You are transformative for me. These are hardly judicial terms. And again, I have no way of taking any credit for this. We're grateful that Jose credits Spokane, but there is something divine happening in these classes. So I'd like Amy and Jose to come and share a little bit about their story for just a few minutes, if you would. Welcome Amy and Jose to the stage. Jose does a little fighting. You would guess that from his girth that he could be a pretty good guy in the ring. But he is scared to death right now. So give him a round of encouragement. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do this. You can do this.
Well, isn't God good? Yeah. Isn't God good? Watching that video and going through that again is, I still thank God for everything, because He gave me the strength for that. The reason she says I was light is because I was angry. I was always yelling at everything. I had a loud voice. I didn't treat CPS like how they needed to. I always saw them as bad people and everything. Coming to Spokane changed a lot. It changed a lot for me. It helped me learn how to not just communicate with my family, my wife and everything, but also my kids. Because now I can sit down and be like, when they do something wrong, I can sit down instead of just me raising my voice. Because that's what it was for me. And at my house, that's how I got raised. And especially in the Mexican culture, we didn't talk about our feelings. That was not allowed. So growing up with that, it was kind of hard, and trying to me thinking that I was toughing up my kids when I was just hurting them. And like I said in the video, the biggest thing was discipline. Discipline was like, wow, I'm still blown away from me. And I talk to a lot of people and I'm like, hey, do you know what discipline means? Like, what's discipline? They're like, even my boss at work, I'm like, hey boss, do you know what discipline means? And then he starts telling me, and then I'm like, no, it's not what it means. It's not that. And he's just looking at me like, are you feeling okay, Jose? Kind of, but it means teaching. You got to teach your children. And he's just like, okay, so what else? So it's kind of amazing. So even when I cross paths with anybody, I ask them what discipline means, because that was a big thing for me in my life. And so Spokane always helped me out, and I wish my girls were here so they can actually tell you of what different side I was, from where I was to now who I am now. And I just thank Spokane for everything they have done for these classes. If it wouldn't have been for these, I don't know where I would be right now. I wouldn't be able to communicate with my wife probably. I probably wouldn't be with my kids. I probably wouldn't have my kids back. I probably would have done and gave up and go back to the street life. So I just want to thank Spokane for everything.
Good evening, everybody.
On my behalf, I just want to speak on how much supportive SPOFI has been for our family. You know, making time for us if we were stressed and need someone to talk to, making time to be even present for that court date. And it just shows how much integrity SPOFI has for their men and their families, because we don't have a lot of that in Spokane community. The resources for fathers is very limited. So when we got in touch with Jose, I'm saying wait for one, right? But it really showed the maturity of what a man is. And to bring that out in him was able for us to raise our family in better conditions, realizing what true positivity is for a father. And being a wife and seeing my husband grow was a miracle from God, because my husband had so much anger from his past, from what we were dealing with on a day-to-day basis. At one time we were homeless, to be where we were able to get into housing, we were able to get him into schooling, we were able to be a part of a beautiful church. And God just really revealed a lot of new things for our family. And I'm so thankful that that was renewal through Jose, to be able to grow and blossom as a true man of God.
This picture on the right was taken at a picnic for our alumni at Shadle Park. And I was interviewing Jose on video camera, and he said, I want the kids to talk too. And he brings his daughter out, and he says, do you remember what it was like when you went into foster care? And she says, and he said, do you remember how it made you feel? And she just broke. She just fell against him and started sobbing. And it's a little too powerful to play, you know, that video, but what has happened in this family is very genuine. The Commissioner Ressa, she said, I would love to be here tonight and speak about this family, but I can't. First of all, she has a conflict, a personal conflict with a family engagement, but second of all, Jose has children with another woman who are still in the system, so you can be praying about that for Jose. But she remarked how different he was this time around once he started taking these fatherhood classes. And she had seen his behavior for 3 years, and it wasn't the man we know that you just heard from on stage. She said she is thrilled that some organization is doing something for men who have children in the child welfare system.